Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the Spankatron 5000 show with your host, Kelsey Todd.
Ladies and gentlemen of the world, welcome to the Spankatron 5000 show, broadcasting live from my basement / garage here in Finney Ridge, Seattle by the zoo. My name is Kelsey Todd. I have a beard. I'm 38. I'm almost 40. I've been looking at some old Facebook photos of myself, and I've been thinking, hey, I've got a beard that I like in a lot of my photos, and currently I'm really not digging my facial hair, so I think I'm going to try to grow out the beard portion and also the mustache portion. Not necessarily a goatee, just like kind of, I'm getting some grays, and I'm thinking, hey, I'm going to grow some grays out and really kind of, grow it out. Speaking of grays, we have a special guest today. Just arrived in the studio, and I'd like to invite him to speak and kind of say a little bit about himself and introduce his name. So, hey, welcome.
Hello, I'm Sam Gunderson, and as professionally, I work for the Beard Police. I really look for people who are inadvisedly using their facial hair, and we try to correct them.
Oh, geez. Do you think am I one of those people? Am I okay right now?
Well, you're okay right now, but we've heard some disturbing thoughts, We want to make sure our role is not just prosecution, although that's certainly a big part of it. It's also prevention and community outreach.
So let me understand this. So your group, what's your group called again?
Beard Police.
Beard Police. Okay, really creative name, but I got to give you kudos. That's the best.
I mean, that's what they call us. Technically, we're the organization for the preservation of decent beards.
That's way too long to say.
Exactly. That's why we just call ourselves the Beard Police.
Beard Police. Yeah.
And we do, in fact, arrest people.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
And, I don't want to talk about it too much, but there is a beard jail.
So you guys have a beard jail. You also prosecute people. So you're like a full judicial system in and of itself.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Do you have like a law school that you send people to? So if you're a full judicial system, sorry,
a judicial system.
I hope you're not the grammar police as well.
Oh no, but we hang out with them, so
you do?
I'd say watch yourself.
Okay. Oh my God, I'm feeling a bit under pressure here. Jeez, when's the last time you arrested somebody for beard improper beard growth? Well,
our Seattle branch is one of the busier branches.
Tell me about it. Jesus, all the hipsters.
Yeah, exactly. So, we try to take into consideration a person's whole style, because it's not just the beard, right? It's whether the beard fits them.
Right.
So, we arrested a guy who was trying way too hard to be interesting with his facial hair. Waxed mustache,
sure.
Weird hat.
Yeah.
It was just like, look, dude, you've been warned. You didn't listen. We're taking you to beard jail.
I don't blame you for that. Like, that makes complete and utter sense. Some of the guys I see at coffee shops and stuff like that, like, you can just tell they're trying way too hard.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Now, personally, what's your opinion of my beard right now? I mean, it's not really even a beard yet. It's grown in a bit. It's sorry, my mic keeps going from being really cold to being really hot here.
It sure is changing volume a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not the audio police, but again, I do have friends in the audio department.
You have friends in the audio police. Nice. Yeah. So again, like, just look at my beard, and on a scale of like 1 to 10, where would you put my beard currently? For the audience, it's about probably 3 millimeters long at most, kind of across my face. Got some grays coming in. Mustache might be a little bit thicker.
It's a little scraggly. I think we'd give it a 6.5.
6.5. When does it become criminal?
3 or under is really when we get out the emergency. We try to, like I said, there's a community outreach aspect. So when people are rapidly going down, we try to catch them before they get to that point. But
that makes sense.
There's a point where you are just beyond repair.
Now, this is a delicate subject. We all know that sometimes women have like peach fuzz on their face, but we all know that sometimes, women will grow beards unintentionally. They'll try to wax it, and it just happens. And is that part of your jurisdiction, or is that something that you overlook?
We try to be sensitive about these issues.
Right.
We really mostly don't prosecute women except in very extreme cases.
Right. We've all heard about the case of Doris Montgomery, the bearded woman from the carnival, who back in your organization back in the turn of the century tarred and feathered her and threw her in prison.
Yeah, that was in the bad old days.
Yeah.
But she took 5 of us with her.
Oh, God. Tell me about that incident. For the radio listeners out there who don't know about this incident, it made headlines across the world, even in the States. That was a big deal.
A lot of reforms came in after that. But basically, this was, it was before we had modern facial hair standards.
Mm-hmm.
And people were a lot less accepting of differences back then.
Mm-hmm.
And we heard about this Doris character.
Doris Montgomery.
Doris Montgomery.
I could have gotten it wrong.
I remembered her last name, but I appreciate you reminding me.
You're definitely welcome. No worries here.
This Doris Montgomery, she didn't just have a beard, she was flaunting it. She was the bearded lady. She was really disrespecting the beard.
Right, I can get that.
She was on really a downward trajectory. She was continually waxing and making it crazier and crazier. And, some of the guys got a few too many drinks in them. This was, I don't know if you know this, but it was not an officially sanctioned event. It was off-duty officers.
Off-duty, yeah.
Yes. You seem to have wildly changed volume again.
It's funny. I just got some new microphones here in the studio, and I apologize for. There it goes again. Let's see here. I might need to replace my cables. There, that's perfect.
That's much better. I'm calling off the audio police for now.
Thank you so much. I seriously appreciate it. Now,
but I'll have to say they've listened to some of your past episodes, and you're under monitoring.
Is that why that van's parked up front 2 days a week?
Yeah.
Oh man.
That episode with Dr. Boner's dick soap, it's in your record.
I'm just gonna make a public apology for that episode. The audio quality wasn't very good at all.
We appreciate that.
Yeah. So tell me about yourself. Like, where did you, how did you get involved? Where did you grow up? Like, you yourself don't have a beard, obviously. Probably,
I do not.
You're one of the clean facers.
Yes, and I mean, it's certainly a myth that all of the beard police are clean shaven. Many of us choose to have tasteful beards, but some of us feel like we need to stay away from the temptation to make beards that are really too distracting.
Now, do you shave your pubic hair?
I shave it all off. Yes.
You're bald. You're the only places where you have hair are on your head and possibly on your chest.
There's none on my chest.
None on your chest. So the only place that you have hair on your body is your eyebrows and the top of your head.
Yes.
Now, is that a personal choice, or is that something that at your work it's frowned upon to not have a clean shaven face?
This is really a personal choice. I mean, like I said, those with tasteful beards tend to be a little bit more on the renegade side. Mm-hmm. They tend to be the ones who throw out the rule books. And, sometimes they're the beard police that go bad. And I don't want to ever go down that. I have a personal history with beard abuse. And
can you talk about that a little bit? I mean, it's an open space here. It's a safe place.
It's just really hard to talk about.
But look on the wall. You see my safe place sticker, right?
I do, and I see your kitten that's hanging in there.
Yep. It's all for you, buddy. You can talk about it. Like, tell me about a really kind of traumatic experience you had early on in your career.
Well, it really all started when I was 15.
Okay. Where were you living?
I was living in Akron, Ohio.
Okay.
And I was just a normal kid, but I was like, I can grow a tiny bit of mustache. I can grow just that little 15-year-old mustache that's just scraggly pubes on my face.
That everyone in high school had for a little bit. There.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I should say, the beard police, we turned a blind eye to underage people. We understand.
You understand that everyone goes through this, yeah.
But, it's like, one day I just kept letting it grow, and I let it grow, and I started waxing, and I was going to beard competitions.
Oh my gosh! At 15?
Well, this was more about 20. I worked up to.
You worked up to it. Jesus. So
it's hard.
So I mean, obviously, it all coalesced, or whatever the word is. It all happened at like this beard festival.
Yeah, I went to BeardCon '86. And
you were there.
That was that, as you know.
Oh my God.
The last BeardCon.
So
it was. I was pretty much passed out in a ditch when it all went down. Just waxing my mustache.
I think you need to be a little more honest here about what happened. I think that what happened, did you or did you not run through the town, and your first stop was the orphanage, and you ran up to everyone working there, and you covered their bodies in hot wax, wrapped their bodies in sheets, and then threw them down the stairs while still holding on to one end of the sheet, so as they were rolling down the stairs, you ripped off every inch of hair off of their bodies.
God damn it.
You did this 653 times.
I needed to be the hairiest one.
Well, you were. And, does this, when you were in prison, you published this in your book, in Beard Jail, you were recruited.
Yes. I joined a religious program in prison, and converted
Hare
my
Krishnas
faith to, ironically,
Yeah.
the Hare Krishnas.
Mm-hmm.
But they advocate beard abstinence,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, no one knows that. Yeah.
A lot of people think that they've seen Hare Krishnas with beards, but they're looking at a different religion.
Different person.
Yeah. And I found God, and God told me to shave off all my body hair.
Wow.
I've been thinking about getting rid of the hair on top.
I like it though. But if you're gonna go all the way, right?
Exactly.
I have a question from a listener that they emailed in, knowing that you were going to be here.
All right.
Okay, let me open
As
this up
long
here.
as it's not about BeardCon.
No, it's not about BeardCon.
Okay.
This is a letter from Jennifer. She lives on Queen Anne. She says, "Hi there. My husband Jerry was arrested last year. We were walking in the park, and he had just gotten his beard trimmed. Our 2-year-old daughter was smiling up at him and saying, 'Daddy, I love your beard. Come play with me,' which was a lot for a 2-year-old to say.
Yeah, that's a smart 2-year-old.
Smart 2-year-old. All of a sudden, 3 men jumped down from the sky on ropes, just like in that movie Minority Report.
Mm-hmm.
Tased my father.
I love that movie, by the way.
Tased my husband. Called me names. Wrapped him in a cocoon, and then he was gone. Didn't even read him his rights. I haven't heard from him in 2 years. My daughter is now 4. She says, 'Where's the bearded man I love?' She's destitute now. What do you have to say for yourself? What do you have to say to Jennifer?"
Look, I'm not going to pretend that the Seattle branch of the Beard Police, the SPBP, as they call us, Seattle Police Beard Police is
right.
what
Seattle
that
Police
stands
Beard
for.
Police, yeah.
I'm not going to pretend that we haven't had a lot of controversy. I'm not going to pretend that it hasn't been a tough couple of years. When the Federal Beard Department indicted us for racial beard profiling, that was a hard blow, and we really had to examine ourselves.
You guys arrested a lot of Hasidic Jews.
Yeah, and a lot of devout Muslims, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. And then a couple Christian pastors with big white beards.
Yeah, well, we don't feel as bad about that.
Which is weird.
They don't have a religious need to have beards.
Oh, yeah, I guess I understand that.
I feel worse about it's not really religious discrimination to arrest them.
Well, you know what else is weird, and I have to bring this up. There wasn't a Christmas last year.
Yep.
And everyone has been wondering if there was no Christmas, which is funny because it's actually like a Christian holiday celebrating the birth of Christ, but it's kind of transformed into what we all love, which is Santa Claus, right? The Coca-Cola Santa Claus. Now, we all thought that was a myth, but since we didn't have Christmas last year, it leads one to believe that maybe the SPBP went a little bit too far. And did you guys arrest Santa Claus?
First of all, it's the SPBP.
I'm sorry, the SPBP, Seattle Beard Police Beard. Wait, Seattle
Police Beard Police.
Seattle Police Beard Police. Okay, so I know you probably can't talk about this. I know you guys operate. People assume you operate out of Gasworks Park or it's the Area 51 of Seattle. How come there was no Christmas last year?
Look, people always want to know, what did you do with Santa? And we've let Santa go for a long time. It's like, sure, old guy, big bushy beard, fine. It's a classic. It's tasteful. But Santa really went out of control this year. He shaved most of it off until he just had a big white chin strap. We saved everyone from having to see that monstrosity. And we jailed that monster.
Well, when is he due out? I mean,
well, as soon as he agrees to restore his facial hair to a sensible degree.
okay, got a couple more questions for you.
We're negotiating with elves right now. I shouldn't say any more.
Okay, I understand that. How do you go to sleep at night, knowing what you're doing to the city?
Listen, I am saving this city. Everyone complains. Everyone says, oh, the high-rise condos are pushing everyone out. Oh, gentrification. Do you know what the real cause is? Bad beards. We take those bad beards, those bad elements out of society, and we rehabilitate them. If it wasn't for us, this city would be awash with pencil mustaches, big curly evil dude mustaches, chin straps, soul patches. Mm-hmm. It would be chaos. It would be anarchy. And are we overly aggressive on beards sometimes? Yes, but it's what we have to do to get the job done.
I can respect that. Speaking of sorry, my audio equipment's a little funky here. Let's see here. Speaking of, there we go. Speaking of soul patches, we all know that Yoko Ono's son, Apollo Ono, he is also gone missing, and I've got to just say that I know already. Everyone that has a beard that's gone fucking missing is because of your organization. And sure, when they come out, they're much better members of society. They shave daily. They're members of Trunk Club, or not Trunk Club, the Dollar Shave Club,
and Trunk Club, which is weird that that's a prerequisite. They're one of our corporate sponsors. It's a thing we don't talk about a lot.
So Trunk Club and Dollar Shave Club are your corporate sponsors. Do you have any other corporate sponsors?
No, those are the main ones. We used to have a deal with Audible, but that's
they're everywhere. Can I just say that Audible sponsors everything?
Yeah, it got too creepy for us.
Yeah.
Plus, there's the whole Amazon thing. They're a source of a lot of bad beards, and it was just a conflict of interest all around.
Sure. All right, one last question for you. If you could go back in time and...
But wait, let me quickly... I want to make sure that I answer your last question
I'm
properly.
sorry, I skipped forward.
It's not... We do not hate all beards. Just because a guy goes missing and he has a beard doesn't mean that we took him. If it was a tasteful beard, it probably wasn't us. And did we give Apollo Ono a warning? Sure, but he listened. And I don't know where he is.
Fair enough. Well,
this interview's been a real hit job.
Well, I'm sorry. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a bad thing.
Okay. A hip job or a hit job?
Hit job.
Oh, like gotcha journalism?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I went to gotcha journalism school.
Oh.
And the show is called Spankatron 5000, tagline, gotcha journalism.
Oh, I never pay attention to the taglines.
Yeah. Well, hey, I really appreciate you coming out today. I know that you're a busy man, being that we are in Seattle. I know you just opened up a branch in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
It's called PPBP.
For a while. Yeah, you're right, exactly. It's the PPBP. Portland Police Beard Police.
Right, yes.
For a while, Portland was our dumping ground. It was our exclusion zone. It was like, look, we can't take this place on. It basically was the purge.
Mm-hmm.
But we've decided we're strong enough. We're fighting back.
That makes sense. All right. Well, I'd like to thank the spokesman for the Seattle Beard Police for coming out today.
Thank you.
And for answering the questions. He can be followed on Twitter at badbeards, at badbeards go to jail. Is that what it is?
Yes.
At badbeards go to jail. Also on Facebook at what is the Facebook?
It's the Seattle Police Beard Police.
You guys should come up with a better name because it's even hard for you to say.
Yeah, it's once you get the signs made, it's really hard to change.
That's true. Yeah. All right. Well,
I just want to give a message out to everyone out there, if I may.
Please.
If you see a bad beard, please call 912 and report it.
912.
Yes, that's our number.
Okay. Thank you for being here. We're going to go to commercial, and then we'll come back and interview a new guest.
The following message is paid for by the Fugglenut for Congress Campaign Committee.
Hello, everybody. This is Frank Fugglenut, and you know what happened today when I was driving to my really modest congressional office? I was stopped at a traffic light, and I was looking through the windshield, and you know what I saw? I saw a beautiful rainbow. And the rainbow reminded me that we're all together on this planet, and we have to do whatever we can to help each other. With that in mind, this afternoon, I met with the Radiological Storage Association of America, and we're making plans for a low-level radiological storage facility in our community. Do you know what this is going to do for us? It's going to bring employment out the yin-yang, I tell you. I guarantee you. We're also going to be updating our hospital's radiological screening and treatment just in case something happens, which is not going to happen. Trust me on that. I'm your congressman, okay? So, stick with me, Frank Fugglenut, and good things are going to happen.
Paid for by the Fugglenut for Congress Campaign Committee.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Spankatron 5000 podcast. Kelsey had to run out, so I'll be hosting for this part. And we have a very special guest coming along here in just a minute. But yeah, let me come on in.
Hey, thanks for having me in.
Yeah, it's great. I'm a great admirer of your work.
Thank you. Yeah, I just published my 5th book, The Dragons of Eastwick. Yeah.
So yeah. You know, obviously, for the listener who hasn't guessed right now, this is Omar Sanjaya.
That's me, Omar Sanjaya. I was born in India, but I'm a U.S. citizen. Mm-hmm. I'm Caucasian, but can I tell you what happened?
Sure, absolutely.
My parents, my white parents from America, were on a pleasure cruise on their yacht, on their honeymoon, and it was a 12-month honeymoon on a yacht, and they conceived me in like month 1, and so by the time they landed in India, and by land I mean shipwrecked.
Oh, wow.
I had been born. I was 1 month old. She gestated for 11 months. My mom did, which is crazy. But that's why my skin is a little more fresh. I'm 38,
yeah.
but people have told me my skin's kind of opalescent, and that's just because I spent a little bit more time in the womb than not.
You had a little bit more time to get finished.
Exactly, and it makes me wonder if we were in a womb for say 2 years, what would happen?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you could be a superhuman.
Exactly. It makes you wonder. This is kind of messed up, but I mean, it makes me wonder if it would be like a body wash that you could make out of womb fluid. Like the sack of water we float around in as babies. If we could if we put that on ourselves every day, if maybe our skin would be better and more supple.
Have you considered branching out into beauty tip books or nonfiction that advice of that kind?
Well, my books are really just fiction, and I'm not really good at writing nonfiction. But I might give it a try. I've got a stint coming up where I'm going to be locked away for a few years, and I might be able to get this done.
You're going to be locked away for a few years. Tell me about that.
Well, in order to fulfill that story, I need to kind of backtrack and talk a little bit more about India.
Sure, and I'm very curious about this shipwreck too.
Definitely. So on the pleasure cruise, I was a month old. My parents were just having a ton of sex on the Indian Ocean. And
do you think that affected the fact that you were in the womb for so long?
It could have.
Not to be graphic.
No. I mean, okay. My dad was a surgeon. He was an expert surgeon, and
so I don't. Your dad was a surgeon, but he didn't cut you out of there after?
No, he did the opposite. He sewed me in.
Oh.
My mom, she tells a story. They were, 85,000 knots off the shore of
85,000 knots
off the shore of India, and my mom's water broke, which was funny because she was actually standing on the diving board, and a dolphin was swimming underneath. And when her water broke, it hit the dolphin in the dolphin's blowhole, and that was kind of fucking weird. And the
It sounds like quite a yacht to have a diving board.
It is. It was a big yacht. My family was very wealthy. So my mom's seminal fluid, or whatever that stuff is, when
Yes, go on. Your mom's seminal fluid.
yeah, when her water broke, her seminal fluid fell in the blowhole of this dolphin. I think the dolphin actually died because it wasn't able to breathe, which is why my middle name is Dolph.
I assumed you were named after Dolph Lundgren.
No, which is funny because I always assume his actual name's Adolf, and he just goes by Dolph, so he's not thought of as Hitler.
I'm curious about that too now.
Yeah. So anyway, that happened. That's a side note. But my mom's water broke, and my dad was like, "No, not yet. We're in international waters, which means this boy will be born without an ancestry, without a country to call his own."
Just like Tom Hanks.
Just like Tom Hanks. So he sewed my mom shut. She was going through labor pains, and eventually her body accepted the fact that the baby wasn't going to come out, like I was not going to come out, Sanjaya, which is what they call me. So finally, 2 months later, in the middle of the night, my parents are going to town on each other, right? Which is weird because you'd think that with her vagina sewn up, sex would be difficult.
This is getting very graphic.
It is. I'm sorry. But I'd like to be honest. I'd like to use real words,
Sure.
Like tell the full story, paint a pretty picture.
And
And
they
you
told
read-
you
you've read
about
my
this
books.
afterwards, otherwise you wouldn't have known.
Right.
Well, yes, but you haven't written a nonfiction book about your experience, which is really what I'm interested in.
Well,
Been
I have a
famously
bombshell.
shy.
I have a bombshell to drop on you after this later part of this interview.
My.
You know my mom's a world-class painter.
Yes.
And
yes.
so while all this was going on, she was painting canvases of what was happening. And I mean, you should see the canvas of her water breaking on the diving board with her seminal fluid going in the blowhole of the dolphin. It is incredible. It sat above my mantle on my fireplace for years. It was water damaged. I was able to save about 20 of the 30 different frames of what had happened that day.
The frames of the painting.
Correct. Not the actual painting, just the frames.
I see.
Yeah. So I have one actual painting. It's the one with the dolphin, and then the rest are just frames. But I keep digressing. So they were in the middle of the night having crazy sex. They didn't know there was a storm going on outside, and it crashed.
The boat.
The boat crashed on the shore of India, and my parents both perished.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What were your parents' last name?
Why do you ask?
Well, because you said that they named you Sanjaya, but they named that your last name Sanjaya? Was their last name Sanjaya?
My parents were free spirits, and they believed in... I wanted to be named whatever I wanted to be named. And honestly, when I was a baby, I was like, na. And they were like, Sanjaya, and I was like, na. And so that's kind of the name they gave me.
But they gave it to you as a last name.
Correct. And then, they wrote it on a little chalkboard that they hung around my neck so that whenever I wanted to look at something, I could just pick this chalkboard up and be like, oh, it was Sanjaya. So by the time I was 2, I could say my name. My parents both died. I, luckily, was sitting on a rock on the shore, and I decided, I'm like a 2-year-old, I'm like, I'm going to go for a little bit of a swim. I saw a crab in the water. One of those, the Indian crabs.
So wait. Let me make sure I understand this timeline correctly. So you're born.
Correct.
Boat crashes.
Right.
2 years later, your parents die.
Yes. It sounds crazy. But the boat crashed on a rock about 1 knot outside of India.
Can I ask you another question?
Sure.
Who told you this whole story?
God.
Oh, of course.
Right. My first book, God Speaks to Me,
Yes.
was all about that portion and how God spoke to me throughout my whole life.
Right.
I have a very close relationship with God.
It was a fictionalized account based off experiences, so it was hard to know where the real story lies, which is what we're getting at today.
Plus, if you think about it, I also got some anecdotes from the local shore people
Sure.
from India, and they like to be called that. Actually, it seems derogatory, but they like to be called the shore people because we were only like 1 knot out on an island.
Right.
We were there for 2 years.
You had traveled 84,000 knots.
Right. And so, I mean, 1 knot in ocean time equals like
It's not very big.
it's like 100 yards.
Yeah.
So we were like 100 yards off the shore. No one could come rescue us though because it was like piranha infested water at that point.
Yes, the famously piranha infest. Yeah, everyone
Right.
knows.
So my parents pretty much starved to death, but they
Awful.
they
But they
breastfed
lasted
me.
2 years.
They did, and they breastfed me to make me be alive for that long. And then eventually, a wise man from the village came and just rode
The
out.
wise man of the shore people.
Right, he just rode out and grabbed me. Like he could have done that at any point, but he raised
on
me
like
in
a horse?
no in a boat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're still out on the
was.
sea at this point.
I was out on the island that was 100 yards off the shore, or 1 sea knot.
Oh, right, because you were on the island, which uninhabited.
Uninhabited. It was probably an island about the size of a baseball diamond.
I see, and then there were the shore people who obviously weren't on the island because
Correct.
they were the shore people.
They were 100 yards off, but in between them and myself and my parents were piranha-infested waters. And there was, the way we survived, there were 2 coconut trees, and my parents divvied that out. Were able to divvy that out for a while. They buried some of it, made coconut kimchi. Like we had a nice time, but eventually they died. And when the shore people saw them die, they immediately, like the old wise man, Tinky Tonka, he rode out to see me.
Yes, everyone knows the contributions of Tinky Tonka.
Correct. And so then, to make the long story short.
Too late.
Right, exactly. People only say that when it's been a really long story.
Yeah.
I lived in India for about 17 years, and then...
So you're about 19 at this point.
Correct. I was 19, and then I saw an opportunity to take an internship up here in America, and I jumped on a boat and traveled 5,000 knots back to the United States. I took a different route, so
That's
shorter.
a much shorter route.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And now
I mean,
I'm here.
obviously you were taking the scenic route when it was just a pleasure cruise on the yacht.
Correct, yeah. And...
Tell me, how did you get involved with writing?
Sure. Well, I came to America thinking that, I came to Manhattan specifically through Ellis Island. Classic. And I landed there, and some people started chasing me. And so I ran screaming, very dark skin, just because I lived in the sun.
Oh, for a second, I thought you meant the people chasing you, and I was about to get concerned.
No. I was very tan from living in India for 19 years.
Sure.
And I ended up being homeless for quite a while, and I learned to write. I would write little cardboard signs that would, that didn't make any sense to people, because they were in Indian. They were Tibetan.
Right. Well, you lived in the Tibetan portion. We sort of skipped over that part.
Yeah.
But tell me, what did some of these signs say?
Well, being 19 and not speaking a lick of English at that point, I drew a sad face. And I was in Tibetan, and I would stand on the corner, and no one gave me any money, and I ended up surviving off of the dollar menu at
Harrowing. Where did you find those dollars?
I robbed some people. I'm not proud of it, but I did.
It's very brave of you to admit.
Thank you.
There's no judgment here.
Thanks, man. So about 3 years I lived homeless, and then I walked into the magazine Marie Claire, and I shaved. I did my hair up really well.
Well, you wouldn't want to run afoul of the beard police.
Correct. Oh my God, I've heard of them. And I went to Hermes, and I bought a full outfit. I'd saved up a lot at this point from
robbing people.
From robbing people. And I walked in, I'm like, hey, I'm a great writer. I need a job. Let me tell you my story.
Your famous words.
Exactly, right? It's carved on the walls there now.
Yes.
Because it's not polite to speak of oneself, but I transformed that company.
They got really mad at you for carving that on the wall.
They did. But so I worked there for years as the lead editor and the lead writer, and that's when I decided to publish my first book.
I believe that was the Dragons of Northwick.
The Dragons of Northwick, which was
Instant classic.
And I didn't think it was going to be successful, but it was, and I'm grateful. It is the story of dragons coming out of the closet and feeling safe enough to do so in Dragonland.
Yes.
And I have a group there's 6 dragons in this group that really transform the minds and hearts of the people in this village, the dragons in this village. One dragon is Muslim, another dragon is Jewish, one dragon is an Eskimo, one dragon is gay, one dragon is a lesbian, and one dragon is transitioning. And so it's their tale of coming together and creating a yogurt stand.
Many people have said that your book is directly responsible for the gains in LGBT rights and the eventual passage of gay marriage. What do you say to them?
I think that that's true, and I also think that we can't leave out the QQ, like the LBGTQQ, which is, I think one of them is questioning, and then one of them means questioning queer questioning. So I want to throw that out there.
Right. Well, and we also have to add in what's the people who don't
NRA
have any attraction?
Oh, to anyone? Monopods?
No.
No.
There's a. I want to say abstinent, but that's not right. Asexual. I knew it was an A.
Correct.
So you have to add the A on there, and then there's dragon.
Well, that's what's going to be coming in the second novel, which is the Dragons of Westwick.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we have the Dragons of Eastwick, right?
Right. We might as well get the Dragons of Westwick, but
there are a lot of people who say that who are very impatient for your novel. It's been a good 5 years since the Dragons of Eastwick, and people want to know what's going to happen. I realized you've been distracted by your highly successful HBO adaptation of your dragon stories. But what do you say to those people who say that you should be spending your time writing?
What I would say to my fans is, number one, thank you for supporting me after all these years. I've been trying to get my citizenship, and it's getting close. You got to be patient. Rome wasn't built in a day. I lived on an island off the shore of India for 2 years. The shore people pretty much ignored us. I breastfed. I ate coconuts. I watched my parents die of starvation. I watched a dolphin die of suffocation. Life's like that, and you won't be sad when you read this.
Before we go, I have one last question. Can you give us any spoilers for the upcoming Dragons of Westwick, particularly what happens to Dragon Pete?
Well, this is truly a first because this book is actually Dragon Pete doesn't make an appearance. This is actually from the point of view of all the straight, hateful people in the town,
the non-dragons,
and their points of view. So I kind of like to tell the loving struggle story and then the hate story at the same time.
That's revolutionary.
Right.
I mean, we're all looking forward to that. Thank you so much for being on the program.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.
Did I time that out okay?
That was perfect.
Okay. I was worried that I was ending too early.
No, that was perfect. Do you want to, just to humor me, do you want to do any rapping?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, man. Today I was listening to a ton of the Dead Authors podcast.
I need to listen to that.
So I think my hosting style was influenced by Paul F. Tompkins' impression of H.G. Wells.
God, I love Paul F. Tompkins so much.
Oh, yeah.
He's one of the greatest, comedians of our generation.
Oh, man. When I was on the cruise, they did a live episode of Spontaneation, and it was awesome.
Did they seriously? I forgot you went on that, dude.
Yeah.
Did you meet him?
I didn't really get to say hi to him or anything, but I had met him once before at Max FunCon.
Oh my God, I'm so jealous, dude. For those of you out there, Paul F. Tompkins is a genius. He's been on Comedy Bang Bang TV show. He's been on Scott Aukerman's Comedy Bang Bang podcast. He's been on he has a podcast called Spontaneation with Paul F. Tompkins. Everything and anything you've seen him in. He was actually in There Will Be Blood for 5 seconds. as one of the townsfolk. What else is he in, Parker?
There was a discussion at one point of like the various movies that he had small parts in.
Really?
On one of the cruise things where he was a guest. I believe that he had a role in Jack Frost.
Seriously?
Yeah. What else were they talking about? They mentioned several tiny roles in various things.
Anyway, if you don't, you need to look up Paul F. Tompkins. Oh, he also has a YouTube show called Made Man. It's like it's called Speakeasy with Paul F. Tompkins, where he interviews comedians and luminaries.
I've never seen that.
Oh my God, it's so good. You have to watch the one with Mark Paul Gosselaar from Saved by the Bell. It is the most interesting interview because Mark Paul, which is actually his full first name, it's Mark Paul Gosselaar. It's like not Mark, middle name Paul, it's Mark Paul. He is hilarious and like he commits 1,000% to every bit. And it's like surprising. Like I haven't seen someone that naturally funny in a long time. So definitely check it out.
Yeah, during the interview thing, of course, it's on a cruise, so there's no internet. So, no one can look up IMDb. So every once in a while, someone would yell out another thing that he was in. He's like, oh, yeah, I guess I was also in that.
That's awesome. Oh, my God. Okay, here we go. I have to end every podcast with a rap. So here we go.
All right. I'm here to police your beard, and I'm gonna make you feared. That's right, keep it classy, folks. Otherwise, I'm gonna stick a stick in your spokes. Take you down to the beard jail without fail. Gonna piss in a pail.
Yeah, pissing in pails, what we do. We do it all day when we're at the zoo. We like to go up and play with the elephant dicks, and then we walk around sipping on our pixie sticks. Yeah. Break into the zoo, do it at night, watch animals go number 2, then we take all their poo and we put it in the freezer, then we feed it to our uncle, he's a geezer.
Such geezer.
Our uncle is a geezer.
And he likes animal poo.
And he likes to listen to Weezer.
Weezer geezer. My name is Paul F. Tompkins, and I'm in just about every podcast. Got about 50. Just turn on a random one. You'll find me there, hosting and having fun.
Yo, my name is Paul F. Tompkins. Got a gap in between my 2 front teeth. It's really endearing. And I'm really motherfucking so funny. I got a wife, and she calls me honey. Lauren Lapkus is my very best friend. So is Paul F. Tompkins. Wait, that's me. I've got a nice dick. Paul F. Tompkins, it's small and thick. I can fuck little things, like my wife, yeah. She's really short, and she doesn't wear a bra, yeah.
Paul F. Tompkins, I always wear a suit, and you're gonna find that I do shoots.
Right. Switching topics, let's talk about the cruise. It's filled with all races, religions like Jews, other religions too. They were all hanging out, watching the ocean and looking for trout. Then Parker saw one and he jumped in the water. The girl said, boy, that man couldn't get any hotter. I want to do him in my bedroom tonight. Up on the shore in the cabin on the right, that's called the starboard side, I probably think. And I want him to not come on me, come in the sink.
Gonna come in the sink.
Gonna
come all over that sink.
Come in the sink.
Just come in the sink.
The starboard side. Come in the sink. Yeah. Water broke. Seminal fluid.
Okay, dragons, y'all.
We still got a minute left in this song. Gotta come up with more raps so we ain't wrong.
Yo, I am a gay dragon. Put me in your calendar. I'll fuck other things. You put me on the wall. And that is all.
Yeah, dragons having sex. They like it. They like it the best. Scaly dicks going all up in your pussy badge. By pussy vag, I mean dragon vagina. Yeah. Yo, girls. I got a calendar coming out in 2017. 2017 Dragon Sex calendar.
Dragon sex, y'all.
Right, wrap over. All right. So actually, I will normally end the podcast with plugs, which I'm going to do, but I want to plug before I forget about it. For everyone out there listening, I am in the process of getting the 2017 Dragon Sex calendar produced.
Yay!
Thanks, dude. And I've been paying artists money to do the artwork, and I've been finding them on Craigslist and paying them a sum of cash. And it's really interesting because in 2015, when I created the first one, I spent all of 2014, a little bit of 2013 creating it and designing the calendar and getting all the artwork. And I was accepting any and every artist that I found on Craigslist. Like, I just wanted to get it done. And how it turned out was so good because there was this great mix.
Into dragon fucking?
You seriously?
Give me a call.
Yeah. Well, the ad was like, I've got a really unique proposition for you. You have to sign a non-disclosure agreement, and then I'll send you a creative brief. And like,
wow, you were like doing a real 50 Shades of Grey thing.
Totally. Totally, right?
I have very specific tastes.
Very specific tastes. And then like 9 out of 10 people said, I'd love to do it. One lady was like, that's not my jam. And I collected all the artwork over like 6 months, published it, and I actually sold out, which is nuts. I was having trouble selling any of them. And a guy from the website called thisiswhyimbroke.com sent me an email saying, hey, I'd love to carry your calendar. Send me a link to it. And so I woke up the next morning and I had like 300 sales. And so I'm doing the 2017 calendar this year. You can find out more. You can go to Etsy and look for Dragon Sex calendar because I'm selling prints.
Just Google Dragon Sex.
It's on the first page. It's like the third one down.
Turn off safe search. Go to the image search. Google Dragon
Sex. And you'll see my calendar. And it's going to be going for sale in late September, early October of this year, the 2017. It's bigger and better and fucking beautiful.
So is there like a specific artistic goal or a way you want to really have it be different than the previous version?
You know what? Yes. The first version of the calendar, the artwork wasn't bad by any means. It was just very different, and it was actually kind of goofy. It was more fun than serious. There were serious prints interspersed with the silly ones, and what I'm coming up with this year is I've got people working on this calendar who have literally designed the covers for fantasy novels. Like,
you want this to be hotter.
I want it to be hotter.
Every page should be spankable.
Every page is spankable. The artwork is breathtaking. Like, a lot of them are like oil painting statuses, and then I've got some that are silly as fuck. So like, it's going to be beautiful, and I can't wait to publish it.
I could not be more excited.
What do you have coming up plug wise?
Well, so I have my podcast, Driving Miss Wiki. I'm hoping by the time this is up, we will have our website up at drivingmisswiki.com. Before that, we're on SoundCloud, and I don't have an easy way to link to it right now.
But if someone were to Google Driving Miss Wiki, it probably wouldn't come up yet.
It might.
It might, okay. And the premise of the show is what?
So the premise of the show is on my commute home, my passenger reads me Wikipedia articles, and I learn about them and ask questions and make fun of them. And, you know, we follow links from that article to another article and have like an unbroken chain. So we've definitely gone over some interesting things. There's a couple of interesting themes that have emerged. Making fun of non-governmental organizations has been a theme.
Nice.
I was particularly proud of our talk on the disambiguation page for Prague, and that led to us talking about Prague, Texas.
Fantastic.
We've talked about the ISO. We've talked about pendulous masses of skin.
Jesus, dude. And how many episodes are
out? Today, which is before this gets released, will be the second. We're releasing them every Tuesday.
Spankatron has a show coming out this week, and that stars the lovely Madonna Kilpatrick and
I'm excited for that
Greg Greer. Were you in that one?
No, I was in the previous one.
You were in the previous one. So that one's coming out this week. That's going to be fantastic. And then this one's going to come out next week. The Basement, which is...
right now, if you're listening.
Or right now, if you're listening. Parker and I have a show. We have a few shows coming out in the next couple months. So we'll definitely check that out. Go to Facebook, look up The Basement, like the Basement page. You'll be updated on when we're doing live performances. I'm also going to be scheduling a live performance of the Spankatron 5000 show. I've done a couple of those. and those are really fun. Shout out to my friends at The Pocket. And next week, guys, which you won't hear for probably another 3 weeks, we have some members of Half Sister, which is a fantastic improv group here in Seattle.
You have a fraction of Half Sister.
Correct. I have Omar Curiel and a few other people.
So do you think you have a full quarter sister? Or
I think I have a third sister. Wait.
That sounds like something else.
Yeah. I have a sister wife. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for listening, everybody, and I appreciate it. Any last words, Parker?
Seriously, keep it tasteful with the beards, or the beard police will get you.
All right. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, and especially Muslims, have a wonderful night.
I'm sorry to Hare Krishnas.
I'm not.
Yeah, fuck them.
They can go fuck themselves.